I served in the United States Army for 27 years. Both served as enlisted and as an officer. I wore the uniform. I deployed multiple times: the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, Afghanistan. I've been on peacekeeping missions in several places around the world in the Middle East. I stood watch at night in places most Americans only see in the news. And today, I'm standing here at a protest. Not because I hate my country, not because I disrespect the military, but because I love both too much to stay silent when we march towards another war. And right now, we feel being told that escalating military intervention in Iran is necessary, maybe inevitable. But before we repeat the mistakes of the last 20 years, we need to talk. When people see a veteran at a protest, they sometimes get confused. They think veterans should always support military action, but the truth is, veterans understand war better than anyone else. We know the cost, not the political speeches, not the press conferences, the real cost. The cost in lives, the cost in families, the cost in young soldiers who come home different than when they left. Or never come home at all. I didn't serve so politicians can treat war like a strategy game. I served because I believe in defending this country. And that's exactly why I'm speaking out now. Because I see happening with Iran feels dangerously familiar. And the thing that you see here, it's protest by a military veteran. And from my understanding, he's running for a Senate seat in the state of North Carolina. But he's retired or out of the military. He wore his Marine uniform and protesting in a congressional hearing here. But thing is that I'm against wearing a uniform as a veteran. Once you're out, you're out. You know, you don't need to be wearing a uniform. But again, that's just my opinion. But it just really hurts me to see veterans out there protesting, and they will stand up. I'm telling you, veterans will stand up for what they believe in. And most of us don't want to see a needless war that where we're going to have our sons and daughters potentially be dying in this conflict. And there's no senator or congressman or anybody else in this government is going to be laying down their life or their sons and daughters' lives for a war like in Iran. This is a needless war that we don't have to have because it's a waste of our national treasure. And most of all, I mean, we're throwing away billions of dollars that we could be using constructively to keep our economy afloat instead of destroying it with this needless war. If you're old enough to remember 2003, you remember how the Iraq war started. We were told it'd be quick. We were told it would stabilize the region. We were told it'd make America safer. And instead, we got 20 years of conflict. For me personally, after the president was on saying that mission accomplished on May 8th, I thought, okay, we're going to go home. We've done all the work we need to do. The country's, gotten rid of Saddam and installed a new government. We need to go home. Then we're told, oh my God, we're going to be here for what? it just seemed forever. I ended up spending 18 months there. And it was just, and to look what happened after that, I got out of there in July of 2004. Uh, the United States didn't get out of Iraq until many, many years later. So, uh, you know, thousands of American lives lost, hundreds of thousands of civilians killed, trillions of dollars spent, an entire generation of veterans carrying the scars. And now I'm hearing the same language again. Oh, limited strikes, necessary action, strategic response. Oh, they had weapons of nuclear, you know, capabilities, uh, weapons of mass destruction, chemical and biological weapons. But history teaches us something important. Wars almost never stay limited. They expand, they escalate, they spiral. War isn't a headline. War is a chain reaction. One missile strike leads to retaliation. Retaliation leads to escalation. Escalation pulls in allies. And then suddenly, you're not dealing with one country anymore. You're dealing with an entire region. Iran isn't a small country. It has a population over 85 million people, a massive missile arsenal, and everything that they built is underground. There's been showing video after video of all these lines of missiles and drones stacked in these tunnels. Regional allies and proxy forces, strategic control over the Straits of Hormuz, and they shut that down. Now, the U.S. Promised, oh, we're going to start providing escorts for ships going through there. Well, this would be a wait and see. If a full conflict erupts, this isn't going to look like some quick operation. This could involve Israel, the Gulf states, U.S. bases across the Middle East, global energy markets. And guess who ends up on the front lines of that? Not politicians, not the cable news pundits, young Americans in uniform. They are the ones that pay the price. Let me tell you something people rarely talk about. When you deploy, you're usually barely older than a college freshman. You're 19, 20, 21. You got your whole life ahead of you. Then suddenly you're in places where explosions are normal, where sleep is rare, where every vehicle on the road might be a threat, where every decision carries a life or death consequences. You don't forget that, ever. It stays with you for the rest of your life. And the thing that stays with you the most isn't just the danger, it's the question that follows you afterwards. Was it worth it? That question haunts a lot of veterans because we saw friends get injured, we saw families broken, and sometimes we watch politicians move on to the next headline like it was nothing. The first Gulf War, I thought it was a good thing. It was well worth it. The second Gulf War, I questioned myself. But being in uniform, you can't say anything. You just keep those thoughts to yourself. But you know it's wrong. But you still keep going because you uphold the Constitution you swore allegiance to. Now, the thing that it got me is that there was never any weapons of mass destruction. It was all a hoax. And what I see now is just a replication of 2003. We're just doing the same thing over. But I'm not in uniform. If I was in uniform, the only way we could, protest is voting with our feet and go out the door. And that'd be interesting to know how many senior officers have just resigned in protest. Can't say anything, but you just resign. You offer, something just to say, I gotta go. No more. And it's tough. It's really tough. It stays with you for the rest of your life. And this is why I got to make this video. This is why I got to get the point across of what this is costing and will cost many of our young military service members that will be in my position decades from now. I don't want them to be in that position where you have to see a human life taken because it was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. One of the biggest lies in politics is this: if you oppose war, you're somehow unpatriotic. That's nonsense. Patriotism isn't blind obedience. That's what you got with the Russians. Patriotism means caring enough about your country to question decisions that could cost lives. The Constitution doesn't just give us rights, it gives us responsibilities. Key point there. Gives us responsibilities, not avoid them. The responsibility to speak, the responsibility to question, the responsibility to demand accountability when leaders consider sending Americans into combat. That's not weakness, that's democracy. Talk to veterans. Really talk to them. A lot of us feel the same way. Just like the Marine veteran in the video earlier that got his hand broken. I mean, there's a lot of us that are very passionate about this. We're tired of endless wars, especially when it's not even about the defense of our country or in the best interest of anybody except someone at the top, maybe. We're tired of seeing young soldiers sent into conflicts with no clear exit strategy. I've seen that my entire career. I'm an avid military historian, and throughout history, outside of World War II, which was clearly planned, the exit strategy, a year and a half before the war was over. They had the plan. That's why it went so well. What we have here is no plan. There's nothing. And when I was in Iraq in 2003, I was just flabbergasted to see that there's no plan. We're going to just stay here, and what's next? I mean, it was just mind-blowing. All that effort to get in there and do it right, because I spent a year. If we didn't have that year to prep to go into Iraq, it would have been a disaster. Honest to God, it would have been a flat-out bloodbath for us. But we did it, and that's why it was so successful going in. But for the life of me, I didn't see anybody plan on getting us out of there. I mean, even when the coalition provisional authority was stood up, that was at the last minute. The State Department couldn't figure out between a hole in the ground and their hand. It's embarrassing. So, the military had to pick up what a lot of the State Department didn't do. And it probably will happen this time too. The military will be tasked for things that the State Department is supposed to be doing, and they can't do it. The State Department's been gutted out. They don't even have expertise. And that was for 2003. What they have now is really scary. It just gets my blood boiling. We're tired of watching the cycle repeat. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and now maybe Iran. Every time we're told it's necessary. Every time we're told to be quick. Every time it turns into something bigger. Veterans know that once a war begins, stopping it is much harder than starting it. I've always said the analogy, it's like a tar baby. You do a 1-2 punch, you kick, and then you're stuck. You're not getting out, and you have no more options left. Ungodly. And I just wish anybody hears this video, call Congress, call somebody, make your voice heard. It's really got to be something done, because we're going to lose lives, blood, treasure gone. Before any new war begins, the American people should demand answers. Real answers, not slogans. Questions like, What exactly is the objective? How long will it take? How many troops will it be involved? What is the exit strategy? What happens if the conflict spreads? Just for right now, the cost of the conflict with Iran is $1 billion a day, and they didn't even plan on having enough missiles. They're asking Ukraine for help. That's one of the things as a planner, you make sure you have enough, in the logistics side and munitions to cover yourself for any extended period. But they didn't do this, and the Iranians even got that figured out. This is insanity. It's a clown show. If those questions can't be answered clearly, then maybe we shouldn't be rushing into war. Okay. My final message on this. I don't like to beat a dead horse to death, but I didn't come here today to shout. I didn't come here to attack anyone, because I'm not on the left or the right. I'm just here as a veteran, appealing to anybody that can hear me. I came here as a veteran who sees the consequences of war up close. War should always be the absolute last option. And growing up in the military, the thing is, war is the failure of politics, not the first response. Because once the bombs start falling, you can't rewind history. You can't undo the lives lost. You can't erase the scars. So if speaking out helps prevent even one unnecessary war, then standing here today is worth it. For the soldiers, for the families, for the future, and for the country we all swore to defend. Because I believe in this country, regardless of the president, left or right, I will support it. Because that's what I'm here for. We've got to stand together and hold our country in one piece. Because it's all we have. Democracy is very fragile. So like I've always said, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your community, and God bless the USA. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay kind, and as always, have a wonderful rowdy. Take good care of yourself and each other. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. I'll see you in the next video.